Hey, it's Dave. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm wearing an energy dome, which tells you that today's topic is Devo. And so when I was a youngster, I want to say probably 11 years old, I went to a camp, a day camp, and these guys had a recording of Devo live, and they were listening to the first two Devo records. Going with my list, I'm going to start with 10, and we're going to go down. And my friend Bob and I, we would listen to Devo when we really got into it. And then, of course, when Freedom of Choice came out, we were big fans because we were already fans of the band, and so forth and so on. Now, I think that Devo's first three albums are clearly the most important. In fact, I think they're perfect records. On my channel, I've talked before about a perfect album. And like the Cars' first three albums, I think Devo's first three albums are the best. When you get to New Traditionalists, which is the fourth album, there's a little wrinkle in it, and there's a little things that go on that I'm not crazy about, and then the same thing on Oh No, It's Devo. The sixth album, Shout, I think is horrendous, and I can't listen to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my 10 favorite Devo songs. Now, the hard part about doing a top 10 list, do I think these are the best? I don't know. Because I really can't tell you a criteria other than the fact that these are the ones that I really love. And then I'm going to talk about maybe four songs that deserve special mention. Not because they almost made the list, but because they're not on albums you would expect, and they were great songs, even for those albums. In the number 10 spot for me is Out of Sync, off of the 1982 album, Oh No, It's Devo. This song I love mainly for that typical Mark Mothersbaugh harmonies that go on. It's just a great song off that album. I wasn't a big fan of the album. There's a couple of great songs on it, like Time Out for Fun and Peekaboo, and That's Good. Big Mess and all that. However, my favorite on the album, what made the number 10 spot for me, is Out of Sync. Number 9 on my list is a song from the 1981 album New Traditionalists, and that's Love Without Anger. Again, very similar in the harmonies, and it's just a fun song and one of my favorites, and easily my favorite off that album. But that album had some decent songs. I did like Beautiful World was a great song. Through Being Cool was okay. Some of the record was corny, so, and here I am saying corny while I'm wearing a energy dome on my head. Thank you. Moving on to number 8. This would be the Jerry Casale song, Clock Out. I love it. Love this song. This song brings me back to my youth. It's like the first real song, or I should say it's the first full song off of Duty Now for the Future, which is my favorite album of theirs, which is the second album from 1979. Just great. Just a great song. And you can really hear how good Alan Myers is on drums. Just great. Awesome. Number 7, another song off Duty Now for the Future. This time it's Smart Patrol, Mr. DNA. This song is like one of those songs where it's just great. It's ridiculous. It's fun. It's very clever in the writing, in the lyrics. It's obviously two parts to the song. I think Jerry wrote the first half and Mark wrote the second. Very much like A Day in the Life by the Beatles, except I like this song better. No, I mean, it's a very, it's great. And if you haven't been exposed to much Devo, it's a fun song to listen to. Number 6 for me is one of the first songs that I really fell in love with Devo, and that's Space Junk, off of the 1978 debut album, Are We Not Men, We Are Devo. It was a absolutely great album, and every song on that album is fantastic. But Space Junk just happened to have this like pop sensibility, and absolutely the ridiculousness of Skylab falling down on some girl's head. It was a very funny song, and why it's so high on my list. It's great. Number 5 is another song from the same album. This one is called Come Back Johnny. Come Back Johnny is just a great pop song. And again, not something with a happy ending. And it, I believe even Blondie may have covered it, I think on like SNL one year. I can't remember. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. But it's a great, great song. I love the song. I like the way they do it live as well. And it made my number 5 spot. So number 4 on my list, we get to the Freedom of Choice album. Freedom of Choice came out in 1980, was probably the breakout big album for them because Whip It was on that album. And in the number 4 position on my list is a song by Mark called Mr. B's Ballroom. When I hear it, I just love it. It makes me smile. One of my favorites. Check it out. Number 3 on my list takes us back to the Duty Now for the Future album with a song called Strange Pursuit. Great song. Again, great album. I love the whole album. The album is funny because when I go back and listen, I can hear the production is not as great as the first album or the third album. It's easily the weakest production of the 3. But there's something I really like about the record that's kind of like it's modern and old at the same time. And it has like that going for it. You know, it's funny too because Panorama by the Cars is my favorite of the first 3. And I think that's the worst recorded album of the first 3 also. I wish that somebody could go back and remaster it and figure it out why it sounds so crappy as it does. But it was probably lost in the fires. Anyways, song number 2, Girl You Want, the opening song on Devo Freedom of Choice. Fantastic. Soundgarden does a great cover of it too, but overall, just one of my all-time favorite Devo songs, as it's just a great pop song and a great song, and one you must check out if you don't know it. Which brings me down to my all-time favorite song by Devo. And if you're a Devo fan, you see this coming. If you're not a fan, you have no idea what I'm going to say. Number 1, the opening track to Duty Now for the Future, the Devo corporate anthem. About a minute and 20-second instrumental that just pretty much states the vibe of the album. I love it. It's great. It's my favorite. So now I'd like to discuss some of the songs that came out that weren't on some of the bigger records, but that deserve a special mention just because they were good songs and you have to cut through a lot of crap to get to them. Watch Us Work It from the Something for Everyone record. This was their breakout coming back record from 2010, which I thought was just not good. Watch Us Work It I thought was a great tune. And so I want to point that out to you. You don't have to get the whole record, but that song's worth it. Off of 1990 Smooth Noodle Maps, Devo Has Feelings Too. And this song kind of reminds me of the old school Mark Mothersbaugh type of song. Right in the vein with Don't You Know off of Freedom of Choice, but that kind of more rocking and melodic. Really a good song. The rest of that album with like Postmodern Man and some of the other songs in that album, I don't care for it. Anyways, these are the songs I would have to say are my 10 favorite. The criteria being my mood today. That's it. Those are the 10 songs for me. If there are 10 different songs that you like, put it in the comments just so I can see, so I can go back and listen to them, and that way I can check out what you like. I might have missed something. Not that I missed something from my list, but I might have missed something in the course of my life where I didn't give something a chance, that you've heard something, and then maybe I've done that for you. Anyway, short video, little stuff on Devo, very good.